So I'm gonna have my chat open in case you have any questions or anything like that. Let me know. I'll also be asking you a question once in a while, um, like if you have a lacrosse ball or a roller, or if you don't have that, if you have a water bottle, have those handy, and we'll get going. Cool. All right, so we're gonna start, and bear with me because I have to adjust my camera angle every once in a while. So, and you're gonna lose part of me here so you can see what I'm doing. So we're just gonna start with standing and just rock up to our toes, and then onto our heels, up to our toes, onto our heels, and we're gonna do that 10 times. And you can tell I need this because everything is cracking. And let me know if you can't hear me or if I'm moving too quickly through certain movements. I'll slow down or check my audio. Well, when we're done with those 10 calf raises and rocks, we're gonna do something similar. Take a little wider stance and rock out to the side and then press through our arches. And then out through the side and then through our arches. And do that 10 times as well. Awesome. Then we're gonna bear our weight on one foot and roll our ankle 5 times in one direction. You can get a nice flexion out of this. And then 5 times the other direction. We're gonna start with these little movements and then work up to some bigger ones as we get higher up. And then same thing for the next foot, 5 in one direction. And 5 in the next. Cool. All right. So if you do have a lacrosse ball, that would be handy. If not, you can also roll. When I didn't have one, I used my Nalgene and just roll back and forth on this. It is a metal one. It tends to have a little firmer push. Make sure you're not using like a plastic water bottle. It won't work as well. But really any ball, tennis ball, if you have that, will do. I'm just going to do a nice little smash. We're going to start at the ball of our foot. Work our way into the arch. To the outside of your foot. And into the heel. And then spend a little time if you found any hot spots rolling through your foot, hang out there. So for me, it'd be right in the arch. Cool. Same thing for the next foot. Start with the ball of your foot. Move into the arch. To the side. And into the heel. And again, if you found any hot spots rolling through, spend a few seconds there. You can either roll into it, or if it's a really hot spot, you can just lean into it and hold pressure there until it releases. Awesome. Now, using either a roller or a water bottle, I have this guy. And start with your foot on the top and then roll it back and get a nice calf stretch. If you don't have either of these, you could go to a wall, use that. From the side. And same thing for this. Cool. When we're done with that, we're gonna come down to the ground. You guys can see me now. Cool. All right, so our feet are gonna be touching. So our big toes are touching. We're gonna place our hands either on our feet or right next to our feet and lean back, allowing our knees to leave the floor. Pressing our hips through, getting a nice flexion on the top of our foot. If you want, you can also do that one leg at a time, totally up to you. From here, we're gonna stand up and get into some of those bigger movements. Cool. So our feet are gonna be kind of in that warrior stance from yoga, but basically in a lunge position. We're gonna lunge forward and keep our back heel touching the ground. So if you can't see me, lunge forward, back. Oh no. I think my headphones died. Cool. So we're gonna hold that lunge position with that heel touching the ground. Sorry, I'm just checking for my headphones. All right, there you go. I think that's working now. Let me know if it isn't. Cool. All right. After that calf stretch, we're gonna drop into pyramid. So the front leg straightens out and we come forward. So from the side, we're going from here, straightening that leg and coming forward. We're gonna hold that for a few seconds. Good. From this position, we're gonna drop our back leg down, scooch it up. And I want you to use your body weight on top of your leg to drive it forward. You should feel a nice stretch in your hips as well for this. But we really want to work on some of that ankle mobility. So if you want to pulse into it. Good. From there, we're going to take our front foot, drop that forward, our normal stretch here. Foot is in your inner thigh, leaning forward, but I want you to take your arm, reach up and draw across to your foot. So let me adjust the camera angle a bit. So again, foot is in your inner thigh, hand is here, drop to the outside of your foot. If that is a little too hard for you, you can take a little towel, have it at the top of your foot, and pull from here. The goal is to be able to grab that foot and get a nice twist and full stretch along the leg. Cool. When we're done holding that, we're going to swing that leg back into pigeon. So that front leg comes to the back. And we're going to drop down. This is mostly for on the right side. Feel that in your glute, maybe a little bit in your hamstring. Good. From here, we're going to come up and bring that other foot forward. So now we're going to start with whichever leg you didn't use. So front foot comes back, lunge into it, stretch that back calf. When we're done there, going to straighten that front leg, drop into pyramid. Should feel this nice stretch along your hamstrings. Cool. And we're going to drop that back leg, scooch it back a little so we can get a little more mobility here. Pressing that front leg forward, getting some nice ankle flexion. You can use your body weight to drop on top, get a little more pressure. Good. That leg is going to stay forward. We're going to bring our back leg to our thigh. And again, up and across. And again, if this is too far, we can grab a towel and wrap it around our foot. When we're done there, that front leg is going to swing all the way back into pigeon. And in pigeon, we want our hips to stay parallel to the ground. We don't want to roll to either side. So come down as low as you can without losing those parallel hips. Cool. When we're done with that, we're going to come up, bring both legs back, go into downward dog. I really want you to focus on pressing those heels down and through. You can walk it if you want. If you need a little bit of a shoulder through your thoracic spine, if you've been sitting a lot this quarantine, press through. Nice. And come down. Let's see how we're doing on time. So I do want to be mindful of our time. So I'm going to give you a few optional things to do on your own. We also have the hip mobility video if you're feeling a little tension in your hips. But other options include some smashes. So again, if you don't have a roller, you can use a water bottle. So for hip flexors and your quad smash, I'm going to start right in this hip crease right here. Your opposite leg is going to come up. I generally like to get my foot up
sorry, I'll switch sides. Like so that I can get a better stretch, and then lower myself down, and I can get a little deeper into that hip. If this is too far, you can drop that down and work in this way. So you can start with your hip flexors and then slowly inch your way forward, moving down your quad. So from hip flexors to upper quad, to mid quad, to low. And if you don't have a roller or lacrosse ball, John posted some links on the page for those. From there, we can go into a low back or upper glute with the lacrosse ball. So you want that lacrosse ball to be right above your glutes, right here, and then work your way down. Start at the attachment point on outside of your spine and work your way down into the glute. You'll get it really cute with the lacrosse ball. When you're lying down, my suggestion would be to bring that same leg up. And foot goes on your other knee and roll to the side. And work your way out and around. That. And again, both sides. Or if you want to work from one side all the way down, and then the next side, that's fine too. Next, you can also do a glute smash, so lowering that ball down with the lacrosse ball. You can also use the roller or the water bottle, totally up to you. But you're gonna work your way down your glute. So my preference, start with the roller, a little less acute, and then I can work into the lacrosse ball. But I'll start here, work through my glute. I'll roll this down a little bit, work into my hamstrings. And then down into my calves. And then generally that's when I'll switch. And start with the next leg. So a few options for you guys. There are links on the page for lacrosse ball and a foam roller. I really enjoy this roller. It's a really firm, intense release one, and it has some ridges in there. So if my foot is not ready for a lacrosse ball, I can roll on this and still get some sort of smash in. And again, if we don't have that, use a water bottle or find a tennis ball or your dog's toy or whatever you can to help kind of roll that out. So I hope these were helpful for those of us who've been running a little more now that we don't have access to rowers and bikes. I know I have been, and these are my general practices for when I am doing more running. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.